Season 1, the story starts with Ted Mosby sitting his kids down in the year 2030, telling them the long, winding tale of how he met their mother. But instead of diving right into that, he rewinds to the year 2005 to his younger days in New York City, where he's a 27-year-old architect desperately trying to figure out life and love. Right away, we're introduced to the gang: Marshall Erickson, Ted's college roommate and best friend, who's studying to be a lawyer; Lily Aldrin, Marshall's quirky kindergarten teacher girlfriend who dreams of being an artist; and Barney Stinson, the outrageous, suit-loving womanizer who thinks life is all about being legendary. Everything really begins when Ted sees Robin Scherbatsky, a Canadian news reporter, across the bar at McLaren's. He's instantly smitten, convinced she's the one. Ted being Ted, he takes her on a date and even steals a blue French horn, a gesture so big it cements itself as a symbol of their relationship for years. But despite the chemistry, things don't quite line up. Robin makes it clear she doesn't want to rush into marriage and kids, while Ted is obsessed with finding his future wife. They date, they break up, and from the very beginning, the show sets up Robin as both important to Ted's story and also not quite the finish line. Meanwhile, Marshall plans to propose to Lily, which adds another layer to the season. Their sweet, slightly clumsy love story balances Ted's chaotic pursuit of romance. The proposal is heartfelt, and their engagement becomes one of the emotional anchors of the series. And then, of course, there's Barney. Season 1 is where his antics first shine: the ridiculous pickup lines, the endless dating plays, and his obsession with suits. He pushes Ted into wild adventures, but underneath all the jokes, you start to sense Barney has more depth than he lets on. By the season's end, Ted chases Robin with one of his grand gestures, a string of lights on her balcony, and that iconic "I love you, way too soon" moment. It doesn't work, but the season closes with Ted getting Robin anyway. Though in true How He Met Their Mother fashion, it's complicated. Meanwhile, Lily begins doubting her choices, secretly wondering if she gave up her dream of being an artist too quickly. Season 1 lays the foundation: friendship, love, and the messy, hilarious chaos of being young in New York. And it promises one thing: this story isn't going to be simple. Season 2. Season 2 of How I Met Your Mother picks up with the group facing the fallout of big decisions and new beginnings. Ted and Robin are officially a couple now. Marshall is heartbroken after Lily suddenly called off their engagement to pursue her dream of art in San Francisco. And Barney continues to be, well, Barney, endlessly scheming, suited up, and constantly trying to drag everyone into his chaos. Ted and Robin's relationship is a huge focus early on. They're adorable in their own quirky way, but their differences are always there in the background. Ted wants that perfect love story that ends in marriage, while Robin's fiercely independent, committed to her career, and not so sure about the whole settling down idea. It's sweet and passionate, but also fragile, and the cracks start to show even while things are good. Meanwhile, Marshall is devastated by Lily's absence. He tries to cope with heartbreak, clumsily stumbling through single life. His pain is played for laughs at times, but it's also deeply human. Lily eventually realizes that her time away hasn't magically answered her doubts. She comes back hoping to win Marshall back, but it isn't that simple. The season beautifully portrays the messiness of love, how trust has to be rebuilt. Eventually, Marshall forgives her, and their reunion is one of the season's most heartfelt moments. By the finale, they're back on track and planning their wedding, which becomes the emotional centerpiece of the season's end. Barney, of course, delivers some of the season's most iconic moments. This is where we first get the slap bet, one of the show's longest running and funniest gags, when Marshall earns the right to slap Barney 5 times at any point in their lives. And the reason for the slap bet? The reveal of Robin Sparkles, Robin's secret teenage past as a Canadian pop star with the hilariously cheesy hit "Let's Go to the Mall." It's a revelation that shocks everyone and becomes one of the show's greatest running jokes. The season finale brings everything full circle. Marshall and Lily tie the knot in a sweet, imperfect, but very real wedding. Ted and Robin, however, reach a breaking point. Their differences finally catch up to them, and they decide to break up, proving they love each other, but aren't meant for forever. And then, in the very last moment, Barney hints at something no one saw coming. He wants to settle down someday, and maybe even with Robin. Season 2 is about growth, forgiveness, and learning that love isn't always the fairy tale you picture. Sometimes it's about compromise, and sometimes it's about letting go. Season 3 begins with the group adjusting to all the changes that unfolded at the end of Season 2. Marshall and Lily are newly married and settling into domestic life. Ted and Robin are broken up but trying to remain friends, and Barney is still the outrageous playboy, though slowly you start to see little cracks in his armor. Ted, once again, is back in the dating game. He goes on a string of relationships, each one reflecting his constant struggle between wanting true love and falling for the wrong people. One of the biggest highlights is his relationship with Stella Zinman, a dermatologist he meets when he goes to get a tattoo removed. Stella is smart, grounded, and a single mom, and she feels like someone who could finally be the one for Ted. Their story doesn't fully play out this season, but the groundwork is laid for what will come later. Robin, meanwhile, is dealing with moving on too. She dates Gail, a ridiculously attractive Argentinian guy played by Enrique Iglesias, which naturally drives Ted a little crazy. Later, Robin also struggles with living arrangements and eventually ends up as Barney's roommate, a setup that plants seeds for something bigger between them. Barney shines this season with some of the most memorable antics of the entire series. This is where the playbook style of his seduction techniques becomes truly iconic, and we also see some of his most ridiculous schemes come to life. But the season also throws Barney his first taste of something real when he realizes he has feelings for Robin. At first he denies it, but the chemistry between them grows undeniable, and it sets the stage for one of the show's most unexpected love stories. Marshall and Lily, now married, begin facing the very real challenges of adult life, money troubles, career struggles, and balancing dreams with responsibilities. Their storyline is sweet but also grounded, showing how even the most solid couples have bumps in the road. The season's finale raises the stakes dramatically. Ted, after a scary car accident, has a life-altering moment where he decides to live with no regrets. This inspires him to chase Stella, leading to a passionate kiss and a big step forward in their romance. Meanwhile, Barney's growing feelings for Robin come to a head when, after watching her leave for a job in another country, he admits to himself that he might actually love her. And then, in a shocking cliffhanger, Barney gets hit by a bus, ending the season with both comedy and heartbreak. Season 3 is about rebounding, rediscovering yourself, and realizing that sometimes love sneaks up on you in ways you never expect. It deepens the characters while keeping the laughs rolling, and it sets up some of the most important arcs of the series. Season 4 is where How I Met Your Mother really hits its stride, blending some of the funniest episodes of the series with moments that tug at the heart. It picks up with Ted recovering from his accident and fully pursuing Stella, while Barney is secretly battling feelings for Robin that he's not ready to admit. The stakes feel bigger now. Careers, marriages, and even the idea of growing up become central themes. Ted and Stella's relationship is the big story early on. Ted proposes to her, and she accepts, which feels like the happy ending he's been chasing since the pilot. But Ted's timing is always complicated. Stella has a daughter, and her ex, Tony, the father, is still in the picture. Things get rocky, and when the wedding day comes, Ted gets blindsided. Stella leaves him at the altar, running back to Tony. It's one of Ted's most crushing heartbreaks, and it becomes a defining moment in his journey toward the mother. Meanwhile, Barney continues to wrestle with his growing affection for Robin. What starts as denial slowly turns into awkward moments of vulnerability, and eventually, the truth surfaces. He's in love with her. This storyline adds a whole new layer to Barney, showing he's more than just the suit-wearing ladies' man. Robin herself is navigating career struggles, bouncing between jobs until she finally lands on the path that will take her far in journalism. Marshall and Lily, now more settled in their marriage, face real adult challenges, like Lily's impulsive shopping habits putting them in debt, and Marshall trying to chase his dream of becoming an environmental lawyer. Their relationship is tested, but their commitment always shines through, making them the emotional glue of the group. Some of the most memorable episodes come out of Season 4. We get Intervention, where the gang hilariously stages interventions for each other's bad habits. There's also Barney's bro code becoming a recurring joke, and Ted's new career venture when he tries to start his own architecture firm, Mosbius Designs, And of course, there's the legendary episode where Barney jumps off the building in a suit just to prove he can do anything awesome. The finale ties everything together in a bittersweet way. Ted, heartbroken from Stella, starts questioning his life choices, while Robin takes a big career leap, moving to Japan for a job. Barney, however, can no longer hide it. He's in love with Robin, and Marshall and Lily accidentally let the secret slip. Season 4 closes with the promise that Barney and Robin's story is about to truly begin. Season 4 is about growing pains, chasing dreams, facing heartbreak, and realizing that even the most confident people, like Barney, can fall helplessly in love. It's funny, emotional, and it sets the stage for even bigger changes ahead. Season 5 dives headfirst into one of the show's most surprising twists, Barney and Robin as a couple. After years of denial, near misses, and awkward chemistry, the two finally give dating a shot. At first, it feels exciting and fresh. Barney, the eternal bachelor, is suddenly trying to be a boyfriend, and Robin, fiercely independent, is attempting to settle into something serious. But very quickly, it becomes clear they're forcing it. The relationship is filled with missteps, jealousy, and a lack of communication. In the end, they realize they're better off as friends, and while the breakup hurts, it restores balance to the group. Ted, meanwhile, starts Season 5 in a new role, a college professor teaching architecture. This move feels like a fresh chapter in his life, but the real kicker is that this job eventually connects him to the mother. In fact, it's revealed that she's in his class, though we don't see her yet. For now, Ted's love life continues its roller coaster. He briefly dates a graduate student, struggles with seeing Robin move on, and spends much of the season caught between chasing destiny and facing reality. Marshall and Lily, now the stable married couple of the group, spend much of the season debating whether or not to have kids. Marshall is enthusiastic, ready to dive into fatherhood, while Lily is hesitant, fearing she'll lose her independence. Their conversations about children bring both comedy and genuine heart to the season, showing how marriage is more than just love. It's about navigating the big life choices together. Barney, post-Robin, throws himself back into his bachelor lifestyle with a vengeance. We get some of his most outrageous plays this season, straight out of the playbook. From elaborate disguises to wild lies, Barney's antics are at their peak, and the season delivers countless laughs at his expense. Yet underneath the comedy, you can sense he's still processing his real feelings for Robin. Some iconic episodes come from Season 5, including the 100th episode, where Barney performs the unforgettable musical number Nothing Suits Me Like a Suit. We also get more from the running gag of Robin Sparkles with the reveal of another hilariously bad Canadian music video, Sandcastles in the Sand. By the end of the season, Ted is still single, Marshall and Lily are closer to starting a family, and Barney and Robin remain important to each other, though their romantic chapter has ended for now. Season 5 doesn't bring Ted closer to the mother in an obvious way, but it deepens the friendships, explores the highs and lows of love, and reminds us that the journey is as important as the destination. Season 6. Season 6 is where How I Met Your Mother takes a darker, more emotional turn while still delivering the comedy fans love. The season explores heartbreak, personal growth, and even loss, themes that give the show more depth than ever before. Ted starts the season still searching for the one, but he gets entangled with Zoe Pearson, an activist who becomes his biggest love interest this year. At first, they clash. Ted's hired to design a new skyscraper, the GNB building, and Zoe is passionately fighting to save the old Arcadian hotel that would be torn down for his project. Their fiery debates turn into chemistry, and before long, Ted is dating her. But, as always, it's complicated. Zoe is married, unhappy in her relationship, and her activism often conflicts with Ted's career dreams. The romance eventually crumbles, showing once again how Ted's perfect love story is never quite that simple. Barney, on the other hand, faces something deeply personal: his family. He reconnects with his estranged father, played by John Lithgow, and realizes that the man he idolized isn't the legendary figure he imagined, but just an ordinary suburban dad. This shatters Barney's worldview, forcing him to confront his own fears of abandonment and his resistance to growing up. It's one of Neil Patrick Harris's most powerful story arcs in the series. Marshall and Lily spend the season on an emotional roller coaster of their own. They desperately want to start a family, but struggles with fertility tests and the pressure of adulthood weigh on them. Then, tragedy strikes. Marshall's father, Marvin, dies suddenly. This episode is one of the show's most heartbreaking, with Jason Segel delivering an unforgettable performance in the scene where Marshall gets the news. It changes Marshall forever, pushing him to think about life, family, and what really matters. Robin has her own struggles, too. Her career takes a hit when she loses her job, leaving her feeling directionless. She drifts for a while, even considering leaving New York. But Robin being Robin, she eventually fights her way back, determined to carve out her place in journalism. The season finale ties things together with both hope and mystery. Marshall and Lily finally get good news. Lily is pregnant. It's a joyful moment that balances the grief they've endured. Meanwhile, Ted lets go of Zoe and recommits to moving forward. And then comes the tease that changes everything. It's revealed that Barney will be the groom in a future wedding. But whose wedding? That question becomes the hook that carries into the next season. Season 6 is about loss, healing, and the hard truths of growing up. It shows that life isn't always legendary nights at the bar. Sometimes it's heartbreak, change, and learning how to move on. Season 7 begins with a mystery. We know Barney is going to be the groom at a wedding in the future, but the show teases us without revealing the bride. This season leans heavily on big twists, emotional turns, and a few shocking moments that keep the story racing forward. Ted, still searching for love, rekindles something from the past, his relationship with Victoria, the baker he once let slip away back in Season 1. When they reunite, it feels like fate giving him a second chance. But, in true Ted fashion, it's complicated. Victoria is engaged to someone else, and though she leaves him for Ted, the baggage of their messy situation makes it difficult for things to last. She eventually points out what fans have been screaming for years. Ted's unresolved connection with Robin is keeping him from fully committing to anyone else. Robin's journey this season is deeply emotional. She briefly rekindles her relationship with Barney, and the chemistry is as fiery as ever. But things collapse when Barney starts dating Nora, a sweet woman he tries hard to be serious with. Meanwhile, Robin wrestles with her feelings for him and her uncertainty about her future. Then comes one of the most heartbreaking reveals of the series. Robin finds out she can never have children. The news crushes her, especially since Marshall and Lily are celebrating the joy of Lily's pregnancy. It's a moment that reshapes Robin's identity, showing her vulnerability beneath her tough, independent exterior. Barney's love life takes center stage too. After his breakup with Nora, he falls head over heels for Quinn, a stripper who challenges him in ways no other woman has. Their relationship grows surprisingly serious, even leading to an engagement by season's end. But the lingering question remains, is Quinn the mystery bride, or is fate pulling Barney in another direction? Marshall and Lily provide the season's heart. They welcome their son, Marvin, wait for it Erickson, in a chaotic but hilarious hospital episode. Parenthood immediately changes them, as sleepless nights and diaper disasters replace bar nights and carefree adventures. Yet, through it all, they remain the steady heartbeat of the group. The season finale ties everything together with the kind of twist How He Met Their Mother is famous for. We jump forward to that future wedding, and it's revealed that Barney's bride is Robin. The shock lands hard because just a few episodes earlier, Barney had been proposing to Quinn. Meanwhile, Ted is left standing at the wedding, about to meet someone who will finally change his life forever. Season 7 is all about destiny colliding with reality. Friendships deepen, hearts break, and the paths of Barney and Robin, as well as Ted's endless search, come into sharper focus. It's messy, emotional, and sets the stage for the final stretch of the journey. Season 8 begins right where the bombshell of Season 7 left us. Barney is marrying Robin. The flash-forward teases keep coming, but the season spends most of its time showing us how these two actually find their way back to each other. It's a winding, funny, and sometimes frustrating road, but it builds toward one of the show's most emotional proposals. At the start, Barney is still engaged to Quinn. Their relationship seems serious, but cracks quickly show. Barney's secretive nature, Quinn's jealousy, and their completely different visions for the future make it clear they aren't meant to last. The breakup is inevitable, and though painful, it clears the path for Barney and Robin's story to finally take shape. Robin spends much of the season struggling with her feelings. She dates Nick, a sweet guy, but it's obvious her heart isn't fully in it. Her lingering connection to Barney simmers in the background until everything explodes in the final page. In this pivotal two-part episode, Barney stages one of the most elaborate plays of his life, not to hook up, but to propose. He tricks Robin into meeting him on the rooftop with the infamous blue French horn, and instead of a scheme, she finds a heartfelt declaration of love. Robin says yes, and the two are officially engaged. It's one of the most triumphant and emotional moments of the series. Ted, meanwhile, is caught in a cycle of old flames. He briefly rekindles things with Victoria again, but she gives him an ultimatum. He has to cut Robin out of his life if they're to work. Ted can't do it, proving once again that Robin has an unshakable hold on his heart. It's heartbreaking because Ted knows she's not his future, but he can't quite let go. This season also sees Ted starting to seriously consider moving forward with his life, even thinking about leaving New York. Marshall and Lily, now parents, juggle the chaos of raising baby Marvin while trying to chase their own dreams. Lily gets an opportunity to work as an art consultant, and Marshall secretly applies for a judgeship, both of which strained their ability to balance family life. Their storyline highlights the tension of growing up while still holding on to personal goals. By the season's finale, the big moment everyone's been waiting for finally arrives. After years of teases, flash forwards, and close calls, we see her, the mother. She's at the train station, holding that iconic yellow umbrella, buying a ticket to Farhampton. The season ends with the promise that Ted's story is about to change forever, because she's finally here. Season 8 is about closure and destiny. Barney and Robin's love story comes full circle with a proposal that's both legendary and heartfelt. Ted inches closer than ever to meeting the love of his life, and the show sets the stage for its ambitious, emotional final season. Season 9. Season 9 is unlike any other in How I Met Your Mother. Instead of spanning years, the entire season takes place over one weekend, the weekend of Barney and Robin's wedding at the Farhampton Inn. It's bold, intimate, and filled with flashbacks and flash forwards that piece together the last part of Ted's story. The setup is simple. The gang gathers for the big wedding. Marshall is stuck on a hilarious cross-country road trip after taking a judgeship without telling Lily, leading to some of their most heartfelt arguments. Lily, furious at first, eventually comes to terms with Marshall's dream, and together they reaffirm that marriage is about compromise. Their scenes in this season show how far they've come since college kids in a tiny apartment. Barney and Robin, meanwhile, spiral through wedding jitters, exes showing up, and endless arguments. They question whether they're truly ready for marriage, but in classic How He Met Their Mother fashion, the chaos only strengthens them. Barney, the man who once swore he'd never settle down, gives one of the most touching vows of the series. He tells Robin that she's the only one he could ever make it work with, and for a moment, it feels like destiny. Ted, though, is preparing for his own goodbye. He plans to move to Chicago after the wedding, finally ready to let go of Robin and move on with his life. Along the way, he shares moments with each of his friends, a bittersweet farewell tour of sorts. And then comes the moment fans had been waiting nearly a decade for. Ted meets Tracy McConnell, the mother. Their first encounter is quiet but magical. She lends him her yellow umbrella, they bond instantly, and the chemistry is undeniable. It's love at first sight in the most Ted way possible. Simple, unexpected, and perfect. The season also shows us Tracy's backstory, making her more than just a prize at the end of Ted's journey. We see her friends, her heartbreak, and the way she's been waiting for Ted just as much as he's been waiting for her. By the time they meet, it feels like two paths finally converging. And then, the finale delivers the most controversial twist in sitcom history. In flash forwards, we see Barney and Robin's marriage fall apart after 3 years, Robin drift away from the group to focus on her career, and Marshall and Lily expand their family while Marshall becomes a judge. Ted and Tracy get married and have 2 kids, but in a heartbreaking reveal, Tracy dies young after years of happiness together. The kids listening to the story in 2030 realize their dad's story wasn't just about meeting their mom, it was also about how he never stopped loving Robin. They encourage Ted to go after her, and in the final scene, Ted shows up at Robin's apartment holding that blue French horn from season 1, bringing the story full circle. Season 9 is about endings and new beginnings. It celebrates friendship, love, and the messy reality of life not going exactly as planned. Whether fans loved or hated the finale, it's undeniable that the journey was unforgettable. Ted did meet the mother, he did find true love, and he also learned that love can take many forms, some lasting a lifetime, some cut tragically short, and some coming back when you least expect it. And with that, the 9-season story closes, not with a simple happily ever after, but with a reminder that love is complicated, friendships change, and life is about the legendary journey in between. And that's the story of How I Met Your Mother, 9 seasons of love, laughs, heartbreak, and one truly legendary journey. From Ted's search for the one, to Marshall and Lily's steady love, Barney's growth, and Robin's independence, every step made us laugh and cry along the way. So what do you think? Did the ending do the show justice, or should it have ended differently? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite shows. Because of How We Met Their Mother taught us anything, it's that the journey is what makes it legendary.